The first app I'm going to talk about is Epic. This is probably the most used app in my classroom. It's grades K through 6, and there are books that pertain to all content areas. Epic is an ebook library, so they have over 25,000 children's books, and it can be personalized to each student, which I'll talk a little bit about in the next slide. The great thing about Epic is that it's free for educators. So you can sign your class up for free. They can use it during the school day. It does cost a few dollars for them to use it at home. Typically, it's around $5, I think, to start, like the first 3 months, and then it goes up. The great thing about Epic is that over the summer they do $1, so they can have Epic at home for $1. These are a couple screenshots from Epic. So the first one here looks is what it looks like when your students are personalizing their profile. So they go through and choose what are their favorite things to read about, and it'll generate books that pertain to their favorite things. So the second picture on the top is what your student's profile will look like. They get to have their own little avatars, and they earn new designs and new avatars based on how many books they read, or assignments they complete, or quizzes they take, things like that. The bottom are just screenshots of what it looks like when your students are reading. So the bottom left is their homepage. There's typically a few things at the top that are featured. Sometimes it depends on the time of the year. It could be holiday themed. It might be a specific author that's themed. And then underneath are all the different collections that it generates for your student. They have their own library that they can browse. They can favorite books to put in their favorites. They have a mailbox, so I can send them suggestions, and then they can search. And then the bottom right is just what a typical book looks like while they're reading. It'll show them other people who've read the book. And the great thing is that for your students who need assistance, they have audiobooks, so they can still participate in the app. It will read it to them, and it highlights the words so that they can track while they read. Lexia is something our school uses. It's typically an intervention, but we have purchased licenses for all of our students to be able to use Lexia. My kids love it. It's something they ask to get on every day. And the great thing about it is that it is personalized, so that they are working on the level that they should be on, and so that they are working on specific things that they need to work on. It also gives the teacher lesson ideas, and it will give you lesson worksheets and things that you can use depending on how they're performing in different areas. So it's K through 5. The focus is reading, and it has the 5 areas of reading, which are phonological awareness, phonics, vocabulary. They do comprehension and fluency, and they also do structural analysis. Your school needs a subscription. It's pretty expensive, a few $1,000s, I believe, so definitely something your school would have to look into. Scholastic News Magazines is the third app, and I love this app because it pairs perfectly with the Scholastic News magazine that you receive if you get those as a teacher. It's grade levels 1st through 6th, depending on your subscription. I have a 2nd grade subscription, so those are the articles that come up for my kiddos. They're mostly science and social studies, depending on your grade level. And so basically your students can go in and read previous articles. They can read the articles of the month that you're in, and it also adjusts reading levels for your students so that they can read on their own level. It also translates to Spanish, which some of my kids really enjoyed last year because it would read it aloud to them. Even if they couldn't read Spanish, they could understand it if it was read aloud. It also has the videos and games and like questions and things that go along with that particular magazine. And so that was something that my students used a lot. The cost is whatever the subscription cost is. I don't know because that's my office handles all that. I had not heard of until this summer. It's for grade levels 3rd through 12th, but I think it could be adjusted down to fit a primary grade. So it can be all content areas. It is a mind mapping app, and so students can use the app to begin structuring the writing process. It can be used for graphic organizers, visuals, text structures, things like that. Definitely something that I would like to look into this year. The cost, I think it depends on what specifically you want for your classroom, but I found that it's $4.99 for the basic. I think you get 10 poplets a month. And then there's also a free version that's like a light version that you can try out. The last app I'm going to talk about, and I know I said Epic was probably the most used, but honestly, I've been using BrainPop since before I started teaching, and it is just a fabulous resource. It is well worth the money to pay for it. I probably use it 4 times a week at least. My kids, it's something that they ask to get on during free time. It's just a great way for your kids to learn about any content area. They have reading, writing, social studies, science, math. I use it a lot for math, especially for my 2nd graders who just need it explained with visuals in a different way. Art, music, they have digital technologies, all kinds of things. And so they are short animated movies. For BrainPop Junior, it's Moby and Annie. And for BrainPop, it's Tim and Moby. So there are definitely differences. Primary, I would definitely stick with BrainPop Junior. 2nd grade can sometimes use the regular BrainPop, but they're definitely targeted for different audiences. So the great thing about BrainPop is that it not only does it have the animation, but it also has lesson plans, extensions, it introduces vocabulary, there are quizzes you can take, they give you related articles and websites, they give you book ideas. There's also a BrainPop ESL specifically for kids who are learning English as a 2nd language, and it's just fabulous. I couldn't say enough good things about BrainPop. And so the cost depends on your subscription. I know for my classroom, for one subscription, it's typically $175 a year, but totally worth it. I have used it every year. I think I might be a little bit lost if I didn't have BrainPop. So definitely something I would check out. And they also have a lot of free videos. So even if you don't have a subscription, you can go on, and there are tons of videos that are free. And each month they might have like a video of the month that pertains to, or a free video that pertains to that month. So definitely something I would check out if you have not.